Welcome to This Week in Hearing, where listeners find the latest information in hearing and hearing care. Hello, I'm Bob Traynor. I'm your host for this episode of This Week in Hearing. News really travels fast across the oceans and around the world, as this week, GN Hearing purchased Lively hearing aids. And as many of us understand, Lively is a hearing aid manufacturer that offers their products direct to consumers. Once again, my guest is Gitte Aabo, CEO of GN Hearing, to discuss their latest acquisition with us. Thank you again, Gitte, for being with us once again. I know we worked together last August, and it's been my pleasure to meet you and hopefully have some discussion once again, especially during this holiday season when King Square is all lit up and Tivoli and all the beautiful spots around Copenhagen. And I know that some of the visitations are a little bit limited these days because of the pandemic, but still one of my favorite beautiful spots in the world. So I think our guests would be most interested in listening to maybe the orientation as to the motivation behind the acquisition of Lively from GN's point of view, or from GN Hearing's point of view.
Yeah, so thank you again for having me here today. And look, I'm obviously happy to speak to Lively and what drove the acquisition. So Lively is, as you've already alluded to, a leader in online audiology or telehealth care, if you like, within the audiology space. And we see this as an opportunity to reach more patients than what are helped today. If you look at the general market, we only help 1 in 5 with a hearing loss today, whereas 4 in 5 with a hearing disability does not find the help they need. We believe that in order to reach that broader audience, it's worthwhile both considering the channels, but certainly also considering the products we offer. And I think in this case, by having the acquisition of Lively, it's an opportunity to find another channel to reach a broader audience than what we do through the traditional channels.
Okay, and now how does this kind of a direct-to-consumer channel provide more benefit for patients? I mean, how does this actually reach more people than it would, say, through clinics and so on from GN Hearing's point of view?
Well, I think interestingly is that what we find among the users that approach Lively is that on average they are close to 10 years younger than what we see in the clinic, and they are probably also a little bit more tech savvy. However, what we also see is that, around 2/3 of the people that approaches Lively, they are actually looking for a combination of an online and offline experience. So those are people that are not really helped by Lively today. And that's also one of the big opportunities we see with the collaboration or the acquisition of Lively, that we can better help these 2/3 of people approaching them, because they can then, be helped by the independent audiologists that we have in our network. So kind of combining the online and offline experience.
So this is almost like like looking at the savvy younger baby boomers and maybe the Generation X people who are really pretty tech savvy, and so they can often figure some things out on their own and interact with the products and the technology and the interactions of the products with the environment and so on better than than say the older baby boomers might interact who would come to the clinic.
Yeah, I think that's true, and that's also why we really see this as a way to expand the market. I think, as you allude to, there will continue to be a big part of people that needs a hearing aid that wants to go to the clinic and get the help that the audiologist and service the audiologist provides. I see that continue. Because a lot of people are quite elderly and really appreciate that kind of help. But here we are reaching a slightly younger audience, and I think that is really important because we all know that the sooner you start on your hearing journey, the better.
Okay. So is this something that will also benefit the professionals that serve in the various audiology clinics around the world and dispensing clinics around the world?
Well, I mean, we see it as a way to, we actually see a big opportunity, if you like, in combining what Lively offer, which is an online opportunity, with also the experience in clinic. Because as I alluded to, we actually see 2/3 of the people approaching Lively wanting to have that combination of experience. So, you might look for and acquire a hearing aid online, but then in order to get the fitting, maybe you prefer to do that in the clinic rather than do that online as well. So I really see the combination as something that benefits both worlds, if you like.
So basically, then someone could order their products online and get their Lively devices, but if they're having issues, they could take it to a Resound facility, and someone would work with them somehow.
I think either way, I mean, obviously the hearing aids need to be fitted in order to give people the maximum experience, and that can then either happen online or virtually by the service provided by Lively, or it can happen in the clinic, or it can be a mix. And that, I think, is what makes it really unique, combining Lively with our network of independent audiologists.
How does GN anticipate the direct-to-consumer market evolving? And my guess is that because of some of the ways in which you and your colleagues see the market evolving, this was one of the rationales behind the purchase of a direct-to-consumer product.
Yeah, so I think we have all been sort of watching when the OTC legislation would come out, and we saw a first draft of that a couple of months back, and obviously it's still in process by the FDA, and I guess we'll see final legislation coming out during 2022. And clearly, this is a space we're watching. I think for me, it speaks to this about expanding the market and maybe also recognizing that in order to reach perhaps a younger audience, it takes both different channels and also potentially different products in order to make something that is appealing for a younger audience. And I think the OTC legislation might pave the way for that. Now, obviously, we need to see how it finally spans out. But I would say also in that regards, the DTC opportunity is obviously interesting.
Yeah, all the changes that are going on within the industry these days will make some major kinds of differences. I was amazed at the exception of some of the direct-to-consumer products as well. As someone who's been around the industry for a long time, I do remember when people would be like 95 years old and half dead before they would think about even considering going to an audiology clinic and being fit with hearing aids. And nowadays the stigma is still there, but it's not quite as big of an issue. But I think almost as big of an issue is the idea that, okay, I'm busy and I got all this stuff going on. I just don't have a lot of time to go down and sit there or listen to some people talk to me and get 5 hearing tests and do these different kinds of things. When I can call up and somebody will send me products in the mail. I'm used to getting those in the mail, particularly after the pandemic. And so now we have the capability to do that. My guess is that Resound will still plans to have the support for those direct to consumer products available with a phone bank or some sort of support from audiologists and dispensers.
No, absolutely. I think one of the cornerstones in our sort of whole hearing philosophy is about providing an individualized experience. And that's where I think, the whole combination of obviously having a great hearing aid, but also getting great service and getting it fitted exactly to your hearing loss is really important. So, yeah, I mean, we definitely see the audiologists continue to play a major role in that. Again, we see Lively as an opportunity to expand the market and reach a younger audience. So they don't wait till they are 95,
That's right.
but hopefully embark on the hearing journey already when they are in their 60s or maybe even younger.
Maybe even younger, yeah. Well, our goal today, Gitte, was to primarily just kind of see where GN hearing may be relative to the idea of their newest product, the direct-to-consumer instrumentation from Lively. Now, will the product makeup change very much? My guess is they'll probably be. There's always a group of engineers kind of sitting in the back room saying, I think we can fix this up to make it even better than it is, and on and on and on. So will the products pretty much stay the same for a time, or will there be some increase in with the usual Resound tenacity to facilitate and make their products even better?
Well, I think as you point to, I think it's in the DNA of GN that we constantly want to improve both our hearing aids, but certainly also the whole experience around that. And I think already we are offering a lot in that regards, but I also see opportunities to do even more. And again, here I really believe in also being able to do that together with the independent audiologists, because a lot of our users are still elderly people, and I think a lot of them really care about this service and if you like personal care that they achieve in the audiologist office. So it's the whole combination that I'm quite excited about, and I think will over time provide an even better customer experience.
Fabulous. Well, I know that you have quite a tight schedule this afternoon here in Copenhagen, and again, it's been my pleasure to have you take the time, energy, and effort to spend a few minutes with us here at This Week in Hearing. And good luck to you and Resound and all your colleagues, as well as have a very happy holiday in the beautiful city of Copenhagen.
Thank you very much, Robert. Thank you for having me, and also great holidays to you.
Thank you very much.